The United Nations says the loss of the Earth's biodiversity is as great a threat to humanity as climate change. The warning comes as scientists and diplomats from 132 countries are meeting in Paris to discuss a major report on the state of nature. It's the first assessment of its kind since 2005, and although still in a draft format, press leaks do not make for good reading. They suggest that up to 1 million species face extinction and 3/4 of the Earth's land surface has been severely altered. Now, the news agency AFP has tweeted this graphic. Now, it shows biodiversity loss around the world measured in percentage compared to an intact ecosystem. The areas in blue are the only ones untouched, and the worst areas are shown in red. I asked our World Service Environment correspondent Navin Singh Khadka, what is, first of all, biodiversity?
So it's basically the variety of life on Earth and the interaction between these varieties with each other and with the environment they live in, the ecosystem. And why does it matter? What is this all about? I'll give you an example of, quickly one example of, say, polar bear. So polar bear lives in the poles. And in the wake of this warming temperature, what human beings have done in terms of rising the temperature, so they have lost their ice sheets, the glaciers and so on and so forth. So that happened to them, but in the long run, what's happening is sea level rise. It's happening, and humans, coastal areas, we're all impacted. So see, in the long run of things, you could see that what happened to them and what's happening to us. That's how it's interrelated. The species, the varieties of lives, they interact with each other. What I do, what you do, what they do, it affects this whole system. This is what it's all about.
We've heard a great deal about climate change and reducing carbon emissions. We haven't heard so much about the importance of biodiversity up till this point, at least.
You're right. I mean, it's not that they haven't brought out reports, but climate has definitely got that high profile now. But what's important here is, even in this report, climate will be at the center as well. Because what's happened now is, when we talk about this biodiversity, this natural world, the natural world is also a very, very significant part of the climate. When you talk about oceans or forests or whatever, and also, these are the safeguards in the fight against climate change. You have to secure this natural world. Otherwise, you're further troubled, further embattled.
I suppose the challenge is getting people to feel the significance of this not just being bad for the species themselves that are at threat, but also how that impacts on our own well-being and that of the planet.
You're right. So what they've done this time is they've already got this reviewed, by government people and also, by civil societies or, say, communities or even business leaders. That's why. That's the whole point. And the major challenge here is consumption, this rising consumption in developed world already, and now you've got fast emerging economies. So the consumption is actually eating up this natural world, land degradation. 75% of the world's land is degraded. So it's not just the species that's getting extinct because of that, but we've got human migration, for instance, major issue, right? So basically what it is all about is what we have done to the natural world, and now what will that do to us?
What do those behind this report say about our future and how quickly we have to act?
Now, see, the thing is that's still being discussed. This is work in progress, although they might have agreed by and large, but this meeting that's kicked off today, that will be discussed between the government officials, INGOs, or other representatives, and after this week, they'll come out with a report. Now, that basically what we are expecting is it will basically talk about this massive, shocking loss that we have done, we have kind of inflicted to the natural world. And now what will that mean to us? Amidst all these losses, amidst all this degradation, and now the climate thing. So when we have lost the natural world, how bad it is and how challenging, more challenging will it be to actually meet the Paris Climate Agreement target?
That's our environment correspondent Navin Singh Khadka.